Hello students, welcome to the business law session for B.B.A 5th semester. In our previous class, we had discussed about the modes of discharge of contract. The first two had been discussed, mainly here by performance. So performance is actual performance or tender. Tender is attempted performance. So we had seen this performance is the most simplest way to get discharge from your obligations in the contract. And secondly, we have here noted about the mutual agreement. Mutual agreement between the parties, here putting an end to the contract. Discharge by mutual agreement. And there we have seen novation, rescission, remission, waiver, merger, alteration. So we have seen these different aspects. So these are the first two. Now the last three I will be discussing, and we are closing with this, mainly the topic, the mainly modes of discharge of the contract. And as I told you, it's a 10 marks question from your examination point of view. And the last one we will be taking is here the breach of contract, the types of the breach and the remedies for the breach. With this, we are going to complete module 2 from your syllabus. That is what we will be noting here. For this, here mainly the month of October, we will be completing the module 2 there. Now students, as there is a rumor that November 17th the college will reopen. Immediately when you come down, there will be your first internals. Do remember this, students. And for that, whatever I have covered in module 1 and module 2 will be there for your syllabus. So start your preparation now itself. Keep in this in your mind and start your preparation. So immediately when you come down, for first 10 days there may be a sort of a revision, and then we are going to start here your first internals, because that is what here is mainly here decided. So if at all it starts on November 17th. So do here keep in touch with your syllabus, what we have taken module 1 and module 2. And later here I will be continuing with the third module, specific contracts, but this will be not included for your test. This I am going to include for second test. So this is just an information to the students. Here keep here studying and be prepared for your mainly the coming reopening and the first internals there. So now we will see discharge by impossibility. So impossibility, here discharge, the obligations may come to an end here because of the impossibility of the performance there. Now if you look at the impossibility maybe at the beginning of the contract, but the parties are unaware. So that mainly gets a discharge there. The impossibility may come later because of changed circumstances. So in that case also we find here the performance is not possible and the parties get discharged. Now this is here mainly the thing to be understood, how they get the parties get discharged. So impossibility at the beginning. For example, here A has made here a contract with B to supply 50 tons of cotton to here B, and B has agreed to pay the price. But when the contract was being made, because of accidental fire, here the godown of A is burnt and all the cotton is mainly reduced to ashes. So the subject matter is itself destroyed. Impossibility is from the beginning only. From the beginning only the impossibility has come. Hence here mainly the contractual obligation need not be performed here, because subject matter itself is destroyed, because here that the performance becomes impossible and then the obligations also come to an end. This is what at the beginning of the contract itself is impossible, but both the parties are not aware. Here because of accident fire that godown has been burnt out. Later they come to know, hence they get discharged. Or The impossibility here may come because of changed circumstances. This is usually I give the example when the goods are on voyage from London to Bombay. The agreement is made between A and B in Bombay. A says he will deliver the goods when they reach Bombay. B says on taking delivery he will here give the price. So what mainly here that is possibility is there of performance. Why? Because it is a contingent contract. Now here because of an uncertain event, because of a storm, here the ship is destroyed which is carrying the goods. So now what happens? Change in the circumstances, the performance becomes impossible. So impossibility discharges the contract. So this is how you have to give one examples for this. The discharge of the contract. So discharge by impossibility. It is an impossibility. So that is why here impossibility may be at the beginning of the contract or it may be here later because of the changed circumstances. So small examples you give and make yourself clear here when you write in your examination the answer. Likewise, discharge by breach. So what do you mean by breach? Breach means violation of the terms and conditions by one of the parties. One of the parties to the contract commits the breach. So on the breach of that person, the person who commits the breach is called as the defaulter. He is known as the defaulter and the other party is known as the aggrieved party. Aggrieved party gets discharged from his obligation. So once the breach is committed by one person, the other party gets discharged. So the discharge by breach we call it as. So again here also there may be two types. The breach may be here the anticipatory breach or it may be actual breach. Anticipatory breach here is before the date of performance. Here the party here mainly states that he is unable to perform this here contractual obligation. So it is anticipatory before the date of performance. For example, X has agreed to supply the raw materials to Y on the 30th of October. On 30th of October he has agreed to supply the raw materials and Y has agreed to pay the price. So later here X comes to know that he is unable to supply it on 30th. So what he says to Y that here before the performance date, before the 30th itself, on 25th October only he says that here I am unable to perform that on the 30th. So what we see here, it is an anticipatory breach. Here X has shown his inability to perform the contract before the date of performance. That is called as an anticipatory breach. Actual breach means if on the date of 30th here October, if he commits the breach, if he is unable to supply the raw materials, that is actual breach on the day of performance. If the breach is on the day of the performance, it is actual breach. If it is before that, we call it as an anticipatory breach. So whenever the breach takes the other party, that we call it as aggrieved party. Aggrieved party here is discharged from his here the obligation and also he gets the right to claim the compensation damages from the defaulter. So this is what we call it as a discharge by breach. And the last one is a discharge by law. So because of the changed law, here the parties get discharged. Because of the changed law there, the parties get discharged from their obligation. The law has mainly changed. The thing is that here whenever the law is changed, all must accept the law there. The law must be accepted. For example, M has made a contract with N, who is a distillery owner, to supply the liquor to his shop. Here and N has agreed to do it. So this is mainly a valid contract there. But very soon later, after the contract is made, the law has been introduced, the dry law, prohibition of the sale of the liquor in that region. So the contract becomes comes to an end and the obligations end because of the change to the law. So as you know that law is above all and everyone must adhere to the law, respect the law. You should not go against the law. Now suppose if the party says that this contract was done earlier and it will prevail, no, it is not so. Because according to the change in the law, you have to see that you will here put an end to your contractual obligation. So like this, here it is a changed law. The law has changed. So for that reason, we find that here the parties get discharged from the contract. So these are the different methods how the contractual obligation in the contract is put to an end. So once again to here revise here. First it is a performance. Performance may be actual performance or attempted performance, which we call it as tender. Mutual agreement between the parties, which may be in the form of novation or rescission, remission, or we can say here merger, waiver or alteration. You can here say any of these methods. It is through the mutual agreement the parties get discharged. Then discharge by impossibility. Impossibility may be at the time of the contract that is being made, or the impossibility may arise later because of the change in the circumstances. Discharge by breach. Discharge by breach is here the breach may be anticipatory breach or actual breach. On the day of the performance the breach may take place, or before the day of the performance the breach may take place. If it takes earlier, anticipatory. If it takes on that day, actual breach. And it is discharged by the change in the law. So like this, the modes of discharge of the contract is there, and this is one of the important question from your examination. It is a 10 marks question which you have to prepare. The 10 marks question here you are going to prepare on this. So remember, wherever I have given you 10 marks, remember that here it will be important question. And the next aspect is here you can expect 5 marks question also. Like here mention the modes of discharge of the contract by mutual agreement. You have to explain those 6. Mutual agreement, the 6 aspects. It may be for 5 marks. That question may appear for 5 marks in your examination. Like this. Or you may get some here terminologies which I have used here for 2 marks also, like novation, rescission, alteration, remission. So this can be asked even for 2 marks questions. The 2 marks may appear. So like this, here looking at this mainly the concept of the discharge, even a caselet can be asked. A caselet can be asked in your examination. Here you have to look into the matter whether the performance is possible or whether the parties have got discharged from their obligation or not. So this is one of the important topic from your examination point of view. And next week I will be here starting with the breach of contract and the remedies for the breach of contract, so that we will be completing in that week the module 2, and after that I will be giving you the assignment work, and when the college reopens I will be here checking those assignments. So 3 questions will be given for your assignments. I am going to dictate 3 questions. So you have to watch my mainly the next session here which are the assignments I will be writing it on the board. The assignments you have to take down and see that you will write the answer for that here in your mainly leisure hours, and then once the college reopens you have to submit that assignments. So this here is one of the question, the modes of discharge of the contract. So we are concluding with the session. Thank you.